What's up, LinkedIn? It's Brian Faith from Wrapify. We are back for episode 5 of Take That for Data. This is a little bit of a grim one in terms of what data we're actually talking about, but I think it's really important the way that some of this data makes sense and the way that folks are talking about it is really interesting to me. So hopefully this can clarify and spark some conversation and help make sense of some of the things that the media is putting out there. I'm not a big bash the media guy, but sometimes things with coronavirus are taken a little out of context. So the reason I'm doing this today, we just hit a grim milestone in the U.S. We have 200,000 COVID-19 deaths in the country, which is more than however many of the past wars we've had and all these different things. But the focus for Take That for Data this week is about counting stats and percentages and comparing numbers that just count up over time and what the percentages look like. So you may have seen recently there was a stat put out that only 6% of these COVID-19 deaths have been caused only by COVID-19. All the other ones, the other 94% were from comorbidities. And there's a lot of folks that will just say, well, those folks were going to die anyway. So why are we so fearful of COVID-19 if only 6% of the 200,000 deaths are from only COVID? Now, first of all, I didn't even know that comorbidity was a word until coronavirus hit. And I'm sure that a lot of folks out there feel the same way. So for all the epidemiologist experts that have popped up since COVID-19 hit, comorbidities could be anything from diabetes, a history of heart disease in your family. There's all these different factors that a lot of folks have that they didn't even know, or they developed a respiratory illness because of COVID and then later died and it got put under respiratory illness. So the way that we're talking about these numbers and the way that folks are taking this 6% number is just way off base to me, because the true number that we should be looking at is actually a counting stat, and that is the excess deaths in the country during 2020. So the CDC actually keeps track of this, and what they do is they compare the average death rates across every month, every week, I believe actually, throughout each year. And then they compare the last 3 years and they come up with a rolling average for the last 3 years to see about what the average amount of deaths should be in any given week. We are plus 250,000 excess deaths in the United States in 2020 compared to 17, 18, and 19's rolling average. So there's 200,000 COVID deaths. Then a lot of folks will ask about, what about the folks that aren't getting care, that have other issues that maybe it's not being put under the COVID umbrella. Maybe it's being put under something else. It could be because of COVID. It could be because they didn't seek the care that they needed because of coronavirus and they were staying home and pushing off that care. So how do we capture that? And this excess death number is how we do that. And the New York Times did this probably a month ago, and they had it at 200,000 excess deaths. That number's since gone up. It's closer to 250,000 excess deaths. So throw out that 6% number because it's meaningless. And if anybody throws that number out there, it's just trash, and you can shut it down easily with the real data, and not real data that you found on Twitter, real data that was reported by the freaking New York Times. So it's pretty substantial, and you can disarm that 6% easily, but also, you know, we just hit 200,000 deaths, and what does that look like? And folks are comparing that to the leading causes of death and the combination of wars and everything like that. And that seems like a really grim, big number to some folks, and to some it doesn't, because it's a low rate, low infection rate. Where testing case rates are down now. So what does it mean? And I think the easiest sentence that breaks down the impact that COVID-19 has had on us in 2020 in the United States is that right now on September 22nd, we're upwards of 250,000 excess deaths in the country. So like I said, it was going to be a grim, a little bit morbid Take That for Data this week. But I think it's real important to have an understanding of the way that this has all affected us. And the biggest way that it affects anyone is actually losing a loved one on the earth. Jobs, are tough, and money's tough, and everybody's been affected in some way or another, but nobody's more affected than when they actually lose someone that's close to them. So keep that in mind. Go vote, and I'll talk to everyone soon. Thanks, LinkedIn.